As part of our continuing Politics 2.0 coverage, Eric Melillo from Kenora joins us. It's James with Net News Ledger. Joining us for our weekly update on the national political scene is Kenora MP Eric Melillo. Eric, welcome back.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I think that we need to fire the Minister of the Environment. It is rain and fog, and we're having freezing rain in the far north today. I don't think they're doing their job. It's April. It should be springtime.
Yeah, I hear you. It's been some interesting weather for sure. But after all, we did have quite a mild winter, so maybe not too much to complain about from that point of view.
Now, politically, you've been in the riding for the week. What do our readers and viewers need to know?
Yeah, it's been great to be working in the riding, having a lot of phone calls and Zoom meetings, of course, as we find ourselves under another stay-at-home order once again. And there's been a lot of discussions with our party and our caucus as well this week, because we're preparing for Parliament to resume on Monday. We're actually going into a session here of 5 weeks in a row with Parliament sitting. So we'll be sort of working from that point of view a lot more frequently than we have in recent weeks. There's been a lot of parliamentary break weeks, so I'm looking forward to that, being there, virtually being there in the House of Commons, and getting back to those debates and those discussions as we move forward into the spring.
It's an interesting process with a virtual House of Commons, because a lot of the rules are still in effect, even though all the MPs or many of the MPs are at home.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. You sometimes forget you want to get up, and go grab something to eat, but you got to make sure you're not eating in the House of Commons, of course, meaning your screen is on, or of course when we're voting, we're not able to leave our seats or leave our screen view. So it's been challenging. It's sometimes hard for folks to remember when you're at home. As long as your Zoom screen is open, you're in the House of Commons, you're technically there. So it has been quite interesting to deal with. Some interesting points of order have been raised on a number of people that have let their guard down, but it's all in good fun.
What are the issues you're looking to raise as Parliament resumes?
It's a good question. Obviously, James, we've been talking a lot about pushing for a plan for reopening our economy and showing the data behind that. And I hope we'll see some of that in the budget that's landing in the next few weeks here. Some of that data, some of that, some of the work from the government that can show us how we can get on a path to getting our country back to normal, or at least back to more of a normal. One thing that we've also raised this week, our leader O'Toole has pledged to have a public inquiry into the government's handling of the pandemic, so we can recognize the good that came from it, some of the mistakes that were made as well, because we do know there have been a lot of mistakes, whether it's vaccines, whether it's some of the mishandling of information and the way that they've flip-flopped on a few things and were quite unclear about the recommendations they were actually making. So that's all to say, I believe that public inquiry is going to be badly needed when this is all over, so that we can learn from this experience and ensure that we're better prepared for any future crises.
Early on, talking with the Minister of Health, Patty Hajdu, the MP for Thunder Bay Superior North, she said that was going to be needed after this as well, because we want to make sure we learn from the mistakes. I don't think anybody's looking to hang anybody out to dry, but we've all had a year now where at one point masks weren't needed, and then masks were vital, and this vaccine was a here, and that there's been a lot of confusion, and that confusion makes it hard for the ordinary family just to figure out what's going on.
Absolutely, and I'm pleased to know that the minister is open to that, and that the government is open to that, because it's exactly right. It's not about pointing fingers or anything like that. We have to make sure that we're better prepared for future crises. I don't think anyone would disagree that we were in many ways caught off guard, and a lot of vulnerabilities in our pandemic response and our emergency response were on display, unfortunately, throughout the course of the last year. So, it speaks to, I think, James, we've talked about the need for as much as possible, the clear information, the data, and having that out there for Canadians, because with a confused response in many aspects from the federal government, we did see a lot of people, a lot of Canadians, myself included, in many instances, also confused by some of the recommendations and some of the things that were going on. So, I'm happy that the government is open to that, because I do think that it's something that's going to be badly needed when this is over, of course.
And a message for the Kenora riding.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to Ottawa virtually, and I'm raising the concerns of our region as well, and just urge everyone to stay safe and make sure that they're doing everything they can to get through this next month here. I know it's going to be a very difficult time for a lot of people, but I believe it's one of the most important times that we're reaching in this pandemic. So I hope everyone stays safe, and I look forward to seeing everyone again soon.
Eric, thank you very much, and have a great rest of the weekend.
To keep up to date, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that like button and hit the notification to stay in touch.